All right, so yeah, Coffee Town. It is a hilarious movie. I got into it because of Glenn Howerton with Always Sunny, and I fell in love with it because of the amazing writing, the jokes per minute, all of the characters are great. It is just like, as you can see, there's just I tried to write down everything that was great about this movie as I watched it again last night, and it is just there's so much happening every 10 seconds. It's like impossible to keep up with. So we're going to try to get into as much of it as we can today.
We're going to get into talking points, but before we do, I want to get into fraudulent points. I just want to let you guys know I've been filming him. This is episode 8, and I've never fact checked or looked at what was on his paper, but either the Patron is starting to get to me, but it looks like that paper looks like every paper from every show. I feel like he's just coming here telling me he's writing shit down. It's like he's adding stuff. Okay, whatever. Let's just get into it. Talking points. Let's go. All right.
Damn.
We'll fix it in post. Cue the music. All right, I'm starting. That's why I threw his all over the place, so I can start. Let me tell you about this. All right, Coffee Town, a film directed, produced by, and writer, of course, Mr. Brad Copeland, who, of course, we'll be talking to later on. And you know what? I think he's an awesome guy. As we like to call him, Mr. Exclusive.
Yeah. There's some bombs dropped. It's a Hiroshima of an interview.
DJ Clue.
So there is so much to get into about this movie. First thing that I noticed, that I really enjoyed, was the banter, the rivalry between Sam and Will. Multiple moments. You have the waiting until he finishes writing the order on the cup before adding more to it. He adds the whole milk, and he's like, now if I can only drink whole milk without shitting myself. Sam, how he comes up to him, he's like, you enjoying that coffee? Yeah, love it.
But then what does he say? But when you're in a psychological warfare, sometimes you gotta keep. Yeah. And he sets his coffee on the free coaster.
Fight fire with fire.
It's not a free coaster. It's my fucking CD. One of the things I want to talk about, and I know we always bring up things that we've seen in the past that we've done. But when we did I'm Gonna Kill Someone this Friday, I had no idea, and I'm thinking, I don't know, just subconsciously the barista scene and that I thought about that when I was watching this. It was such a we saw them for so many days,
probably
writing on the cup, and then this and that. It's like I felt that a little Coffee Townish, tad bit.
Going back to Sam and Will, go refill the half and half. You go refill the half and half. Can I refill the half and half?
And then finally, are you really trying to tell me the half and half is empty?
Yeah, he has conceded at that point.
I've only seen this one time. I'm quoting the movie. That's how good it is, people. Hello.
And then, of course, the climax of their rivalry when Will gets to order. He's like, he tells Becca, he's like, let me get your drink. I need this. He goes in, he orders the drink and extra whipped cream. Name? Becca. Why don't you write a shitty song about that?
I'm the stirrer. She's a stirrer, and I'm the heart of grounds of my life. I'm like, oh my gosh, get the fucking together.
I actually felt bad for him in that moment.
I never felt bad for him. He's an asshole musician. He's coffee shop guy. Literally, they got coffee shop guy to play coffee shop guy. One of the things I loved about it, right off the fact, I love satire, and we'll talk about this later we'll definitely talk about it with Brad later about how the world has been so PC now, and of course that was one of the last times where you can get away with just about saying anything, and of course, me being according to heritage.com or ancestry.com, I don't know whether I'm African American, black. I know what I am. They'll tell you I'm anything. Unless you can tell me where the fuck they stole me from, I'm not paying shit. But with that being said, one of the things I love from the fucking film, Browntown, like they never even meant it to fucking be racist, but they knew it would stab some people and make them feel bad. That shit is so fucking funny. Like, we're gonna call it Browntown, but that didn't really play over well.
Yeah, it plays over less well now.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
They definitely hit on some touchy subjects. Like right off the bat, you have the AIDS joke with Jake Johnson from New Girl coming in like, I got f***ing AIDS. Like, and
that's 2 minutes in. You don't even get a chance to sit down.
Then Chad, of course, who I just wanted the Chad and the smoking is so funny to me because one, that is exactly how I got into smoking. His reason, Chad works across the street in like a lighting fixture place, and he noticed that the boss smokes, so there's these sanctioned smoke breaks by the boss. So he goes from having a homeless person blow smoke all over him and in his mouth to actually smoking himself. That's how, and I actually talk about that when we're in the interview with Brad about how I got into smoking. But that, going back to the touchy subjects, he pulls out the Newports, and Will is like, Newports, huh? Menthol. And he's like, what's a non-racist way to tell Chad he smokes cigarettes? Mostly black people smoke. And Geno, there's no racist way to say something racist. But then the best part of that whole dynamic is the black customers outside, and the look that he gives Chad when he sees the Newports, like, oh, this guy, he's like, Newports, huh? It's like, yeah, like I could literally feel my insides turning black.
The menthol.
Yeah. Oh, when he's packing them, he's like, what does that do?
I don't know.
Chad is one of the highlights. I mean, the banter between Chad, Will, and Geno throughout the whole movie it's like gold.
It pretty much, no matter who he banters with, it's always go. Even like I said, even with the black guy outside the coffee shop, was just sitting there looking like Hightower from Police Academy. As this guy is just, it's really turning my insides black, and this guy's like, what the f-?
Did you notice in the next part he's kicking his ass?
Oh yeah, he's against the window. This motherfucker's like going down. One of the other things I noticed, I always like to cross-reference pop culture shows I love and think that we're all, sometimes when we're doing stuff we're influenced by it, was the whole no tip thing reminded me of the Seinfeld thing with the soup Nazi. Like George was going to no, it wasn't even the soup Nazi, he was tipping, but the guy didn't see, so he tried to take it back out and put it in, like, what are you doing? What are you like? So it's just the context of the whole tip thing just kind of made me look at that. And another thing I want to talk about, you brought up the cigarettes. Notice that when he went from having the bum or somebody blow cigarettes on him, like I want to make this very f***ing clear. When Chad is in mid, also another kill reference. When Chad is in mid conversation, he's just sitting there, and for no reason, we don't get a warning or anything. Only Chad sees his boss walks by. He jumps the up out of nowhere, runs. He looks around, and he is so desperate to keep his breaks and not be found out that he takes a cigarette, a nasty ass cigarette from a disgusting bum. I mean, I'm saying disgusting bum because I think there are 9 disgusting bums out there. But there's a disgusting bum outside of the fucking door and just immediately starts smoking it. Now, normally, that'll be funny. But like we say, this movie does a good job of callbacks. Later on, we see Chad sticking the cigarette out the window and the bum comes and takes it back.
Car.
Yeah, the cop car.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah,
that f***er Geno, they was like, hey, you're not supposed to be using that off duty. He's like, it's my only car.
Geno is the worst cop ever, and they made bad cops funny before bad cops was really like a talking point in society. Well, I mean, I guess they always have been.
Hey man, what happened with that drive-by? I didn't report it. I couldn't find any clues. I didn't know what happened, so it wasn't.
You don't know what I have to do every day. And he drops the gun on the ground. The safety's on.
You know what?
Oh, I always forget to click it. The safety wasn't on.
What? And let's not forget.
Somebody shot out of a car. Yeah, I didn't. Nobody got shot, and I didn't solve it.
Let's not forget him saying, "Man, you got to be aggressive. You got to get in her zone." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "You want my gun?" He's like, "Why would I want your gun?"
I'm not going to shoot her.
He's like, "Man, listen." And then he's like, "Oh, she's taking my key. You want me to arrest her?" But I say, "Listen, if I arrest her, as soon as I throw her on the face hood of that car, she's gonna want to fuck me."
Who wouldn't? How about Chad right off the top trying to present an argument for segregation? Like, they get their own water fountain.
In fairness, and that's where I say, well, I can see why you fell in love with this movie, because that's something I would only see either on Seinfeld, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or Atlanta. Because again, it just pains me in that a PC society that we live in now. We grew up in the era of Richard. Like I heard people call people look like me nigga forever. So now we're worried about what we're saying. Like, I just don't understand. Like,
yesterday I just went back and started because Chappelle show's on Netflix now. So I just went back and started watching it from episode 1. That motherfucker came out of the gate swinging. Like,
right.
Everything that's about to upset everybody, let's get it out of the way. Episode, I didn't realize.
It's like it was 2. It was number 2. He's like, this episode might get us canceled, but here we go.
Yeah, so like to see, and we talk about this in the interview with Brad, like to get into a movie where in the first 5 minutes they have already talked about racial issues, they've made a joke about AIDS, and I can't remember what else, but like right off the top in this movie that it's it's brave. So you are it's almost like watching a horror movie where somebody gets high tension comes to mind where right in the very beginning of the horror film, there's somebody getting head in a pickup truck, and then you see the head come up, but he's holding the head and it's decapitated, and he was actually in the neck. And right there, when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, oh, so I need to be prepared for anything because everything is on the table when it comes to this, and it is you don't really get that much anymore.
I 100% agree. They don't hide from you at all what's going on. We talked about this. One of the things we found funny was Geno's reverse psychology. Like, it hit the women low as far as like, hey, I'm saying, hey, you want to drink? Yeah, Big Daddy. He's like, let me get a rum and a Diet Coke.
Hey, is that a stool sturdy enough for you? Is it holding you?
I can get you another one. No, I'm fine. Hey, what's wrong with your face? So, I mean, and like I said, it's guys out there like that. So and that's another thing that this film did. It did a good job with having us identify with characters that we know exist. One of the other things that I wanted to wanted to talk about was like when one of the for us see it's not a the greatest comedies aren't simply just comedies. There's always still a little something to them. And later on in the film, one of the things I found was when it says Coffee Town was that place to belong. His sense, and I can relate to that, not in the sense of going to Starbucks or wherever. I can relate in the sense to where if you're about to like bulldoze my world, I'm going to do everything in the fucking world to protect my world. Up and leading to staging a fake robbery. He simply went through all of that. That was like some white suburbia shit. The worst thing he could do without really going to jail was he just wanted a police report.
Yeah.
This is like, it was no, like, and we'll talk about that later. He only wanted a police report.
Fucking Chad with the, we'll take a little bit of money. That's still robbing.
Dude.
Well, I've had my eye on one of those hoodies over there. Do you know what robbing is?
Don't charge $35 for those hoodies.
Yeah.
Dude, and the up part about it, they went over this shit with him 90 times before the robbery. He gets in there. The moment he hits the ground.
Don't cover your eyes.
The moment he hits the ground, David, he goes straight for the cash register. He's like, oh no. I'm like,
Chad, man, that's very sugar in the raw of him.
Why aren't you paying attention? I was playing with the sugar and the cream. Why can't I be cream? We could have both be cream. Like, what are you doing?
I don't care what we are. What's happening?
Not to mention while they're going over, I told the guys we were going to do a drug bust on the place, so they drew me up this little cutout. Remember they were planning the robbery, but then when the other guy comes around, the guy the Down syndrome character comes up, they flip it over real quick, and it's more homicide stuff.
Just somebody being shot in the back. It's like, ooh, we don't have a lot of paper. Like speaking of Chad, the beautiful thing about that character and the genius of putting a character like that in the dynamic of this group is because it plays so perfectly on Glenn Howerton's strength. Like, one of the best things I love about his character Dennis in Always Sunny is, yeah, he's almost as stupid as the gang that he's affiliated with, but he considers himself to be superior and smarter, wiser, so he's constantly in this position to put up with the shenanigans of the people around him, and to throw a character like Chad in the mix in this movie for Glenn Howerton to constantly be put like that moment. Like, I don't like, what are you talking about right now? Stop. What is the name? Whores.
I know.
When they're talking about the
guy,
the GE guy.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking about this right now. Like, those responses, Glenn Howerton is so great at those. So to give him somebody like Chad to constantly play off of like that made funnier scenes. Funny scenes.
And he wasn't just dumb. Chad actually had some intelligence to him. When they were talking about the robbery, he says, he's like, no, we're not going to take anything. We're not going to take anything. He was like, my lips are sealed. He's like, it's not a fucking secret. Like, what are you talking about? Your lips are fucking sealed. One of the other things I want to look at is that, to me, it did such, and see, it's almost, when we talk to Brad later, he's gonna tell us as well. This is more so, and I really got this feeling where it was friends doing a film, a lot of writing. Like this was like a writers camp, and they all got this like whatever we can't say now. They're able to do it. But one of the things I want to talk about was they did I don't know if it was intentional, but they did a really good job of. It's like 10 days to the robbery, 9 days to the robbery. And just in the spirit of the film, I'm like, it's only like 25 minutes left in the film. They got like 4 more days left for the robbery.
What's happening today?
They're sitting, Brooks, they go back to some Spaceball. Everything that's happening now, it was 4 days left to the robbery or something like that. And they're sitting at the bar. He's like, wait a minute, that's happening now? And he's like, robbery 12 hours away.
And
like,
Geno called it too. He's like, cops are bored on Tuesdays. You're going to have everybody here.
And he said, Tuesday. He's freaking crazy, man, dude. And like I said, we'll talk about a lot of stuff. But listen, we would be on talking points all day. I'm just going to tell you that because there was so much brilliance to this. But go ahead, please. I know you have more.
Just a few more. Yeah, the fact that Chad gets called a R word by the guy with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of those moments where, like, I can't believe this movie is doing this right now. And they find a way to tiptoe around these subjects in such a way where it's kind of like Always Sunny. They take these taboo subjects in comedy and find a way to make you laugh at them. That whole scene, the setting up the fight, special people versus non-special people, and Chad's special power is the Indian burn. Like, all right, let's go with that. Then the punchline is when he wins, a literal punchline. The cook clocks him in the face, says, "He's got Down syndrome, you asshole," and all the way to, like then Will borrows the bike and he assumes that the guy with Down syndrome has the tricycle, so he takes that. And then as he's talking to Becca after he chases her down, he gets hit with some. He's like, I'm almost too much of a nice guy. Smack right in the face, and it turns out he stole the bike from a war veteran. I fought a fucking war for you.
The same war veteran that asked him, "Have you seen the paper?" And he said no, and it was under the laptop for his fucking legs, man.
Again, like we said like we go into in the interview with Brad, is that there's all of these jokes that we're mentioning. Most of them have callbacks later on in the movie that that make them even better.
Yes, definitely. One of my talking points, really quick. I want to be one of my. I'm still. No, it's such a good scene. I can't even make it a talking point. Go ahead.
All right, so one of the moments I thought was pretty funny is, "Are you a poop chipper?"
Oh, I knew you were gonna do that. Yeah, I knew you were gonna do it.
There are and just for those who have not seen the movie yet, if you haven't, you should watch it before you're seeing this episode. But and it's available on Amazon or YouTube to purchase or rent. Poop chipper is someone who uses their own urine to chip away your poop off the porcelain. And
what does that say about you as a man? If you do, there's two types of people in this world. There's people who are poop chippers and who will piss it right off, and people who won't. Got to figure out what kind you are, man.
That's, I think the last thing. Oh, okay. I have
six last things.
2 more things.
Part A of paragraph 1 of number 1. Go ahead.
Another hilarious part was because this has actually happened before, where Becca walks in and someone asks, "Who's that?" And he says, "Becca." Just in time for her to turn around. He's like, "Oh, she saw me mouth her name."
I like that. But that can only be topped by, I thought you were going to say, this has happened before. And if it was, I was going to say, I thought you were talking about Jason Granger. It was the scene where the guy is super drunk. So for some reason, they have to get the bum drunk and they send him back to his house. He tries to get him to lay on the couch. He's like, "No, it's couch bugs." He gets right in his bed naked, lays down dick first, and then does the wiggle. It's like a little wiggle.
I'll make sure I get all in there.
We call that the Jason Granger.
Speaking of unwanted roommates, the last thing I have is the Derek Waters from Drunk History. He plays roommate number 2 after Jake Johnson dies, and he's like, "I don't sleep." The rapid eye movement, but the best part is when Will is like at his wit's end with everything being taken away from him, and he's like, sometimes you just want to shoot your TV, or just go have a turkey Lunchable.
And he went and got that like, what the f? I told you I don't sleep. Hello, Clarice.
That's the trailer.